There seems to be this focus on patients as ATM machines.
Australians spend tens of billions of dollars a year on health services.
Our health payment systems are like open checkbooks.
Medical professionals use a coding system to bill patients and healthcare providers.
The way these systems work basically is you put in a number saying, I did this thing, now pay me. And the answer comes back, here you go, here's your money.
Some health practitioners have built businesses that target government schemes for injured workers, the disabled, elderly, and Department of Veteran Affairs, or DVA.
You've got NDIS, Medicare, DVA, private health insurers, aged care, workers' comp, CTP. They're the main payers.
Tonight, we take a close look at podiatry, where hundreds of millions of dollars is earned from government-funded schemes, and we examine some questionable business practices.
We were told, I'll just go through the books, find anyone who's a new WorkCover patient that's going to any of the other specialists, and then put them on a list.
How can you put a level of care towards a Department of Veteran Affairs patient without being there physically to attend to them?
Decorated war veteran Colin Rule spent 2 years in Vietnam and suffers serious health issues. He now lives 120 kilometres from Perth.
I was a member of what they call the Royal Australian Armoured Corps. That includes tanks and any armour.
Last year, he heard about a podiatry box available to DVA recipients. He called the clinic that had sent the box and spoke to a podiatrist.
When I got Sanjay on the phone, he started giving me a few more exercises, and then it wasn't long after that he was trying to get me 4 shoes.
DVA requires an in-person consultation to fit customised shoes.
Well, I said to him, what's going to happen if DVA ring me up and say, well, when did you see this chap? And he said, I'll just say to DVA, well, Colin was over here in Sydney and I caught up with him then. So you just say that, you know, I caught up with you over there when I was at Sydney at some time. And I said to him, I think we're going down the path where you might end up in a lot of trouble and I might end up in more trouble.
We simply bring you in, understand your history.
The podiatrist treating Colin Rule was Dr. Sanjay Parasha. He runs the Foot and Ankle Clinic of Australia with a network of 30 business locations around the country. In August, the 29-year-old entrepreneur described himself as probably Australia's highest paid podiatrist.
My name's Sanjay and I've acquired 37 properties in the last 3 years. Step number 1 is value.
His social media posts offer business insights and lifestyle tips.
Baby, I'm rich, it's payday. Whoop, 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 yeah. All right, I woke up at 3:50 a.m. Are you doing that?
Dr. Margaret Foe is a health system lawyer specialising in payment systems. She says in podiatry, some health funding schemes such as DVA entitle patients to more services and treatments than others.
These are unprotected, unpoliced pots of gold. So under Medicare, you will get 5 consultations with a podiatrist per year. That's it. But under DVA, the starting point is 12 consults a year. You can increase that, but in addition, you have all these treatments, tests and products, you know, shoes, orthotics. The DVA list has 80 items on it.
We got a phone call out of the blue. It was like being cold called by a podiatrist.
Philip Rowson is an Australian Army veteran who has ongoing health issues from his service. In March 2022, the Perth-based DVA recipient received a cold call from a podiatrist from the Foot and Ankle Clinic in Sydney.
It was quite simply, we understand that you're a DVA recipient, we're a DVA provider, would you like to see some information about podiatry? And I said yes. And the box duly arrived.
The box included a foam impression for each foot.
What they wanted you to do was put your left foot in one and your right foot in the other, and then close it up and send it back to them.
A month later, a pair of ill-fitting inserts arrived, which his regular podiatrist says did not meet professional standards.
All right, Phil, just have a jump up here, mate. We'll do that biomechanical assessment. Those orthotics basically were no better than something that you could buy prefabricated at retail, at the pharmacy.
He says that in his opinion, they didn't meet DVA's requirements.
First process is they need to be referred by a GP. And second of all, that patient requires the orthotics based on the podiatrist's diagnosis. And all of this needs to be done in person by the practitioner.
When Philip tried to order a pair better suited to his feet, his podiatrist said he'd already had his quota for the year.
He looked up my allowance online and found that we had in fact been charged by this company over east.
Philip later became suspicious and requested a copy of his GP referral.
It's a fake referral. He does not know this doctor.
How hard is it to find out from DVA someone's billing history?
Well, look, it's not like Medicare where you can just jump onto your MyGov and immediately access your Medicare records. In fact, with DVA, it has been almost impenetrable.
Veterans trying to access their billing history from DVA describe the process as excruciating. And when it finally arrives, it makes little sense. Margaret and I have been looking at your billing history.
Yes.
I wanted to share with you what it is. It comes up to more than 70 appointments and services.
70?
This year, right up to July, and it comes to a total of just under $5,500.
My goodness. You're saying 70? I would have been battling to have seen him 7 or 9 times on the phone to speak to.
And it's in-person consultations for joint manipulation, in-person consultations for TENS machines, right up to July this year.
None of those people put a hand on me. It's that far out of the playing field that it's almost beyond an average person's imagination.
You got a copy of your doctor's referral?
Yes.
Had you ever heard of that doctor?
No.
You've gone through the billing records of... Margaret Foe reviewed the billing records of a group of Perth veterans.
Look, this is bogus billing on a number of levels. So there's fake referrals, but then you've got veterans who are in Perth being billed for face-to-face appointments with a practitioner who is in Sydney. And in one instance, the veteran is continuing to be billed right up until July this year. So this is very clearly fees for no service.
Could this be errors? All of this? All what you've said, could it boil down to just errors?
No, absolutely not. There is no way possible that these are errors. These referrals are templated documents. There are patterns of billing. So there's no way that these veterans would have known that this was happening had it not been for this investigation.
It's not just veterans who have questions about the business practices of the Foot and Ankle Clinic of Australia. We've spoken to a number of former employees about what they saw behind the scenes.
I feel bad about a lot of the stuff that I did. You know, calling people, trying to sell medicine to people. Like snake oil. It felt like a snake oil salesman. That was a big anxiety on me.
Angus Mann worked in administration at the clinic in Gregory Hills in southwest Sydney from October 2020 to September last year. He says he was told to cold call veterans.
These are people who've often fought overseas, you know, fought in Afghanistan and Iraq. They've got a whole plethora of, you know, mental issues like PTSD and anxiety and stuff. Here I am ringing them, hey, you want podiatry?
Mann said sometimes he had to process patient orthotics, a specialised role he admits he isn't qualified for.
Basically, Sanjay decided that the podiatrists were too busy to be doing that. So admin now had to do that. It's very important to know that none of our admin were trained medical professionals at all. What they did was they gave us a template and said, just put these parameters in for everybody. Everybody. These are standard parameters.
But it wasn't just the veteran community Mann was asked to target.
WorkCover is a big part of what we do, and we are highly skilled at the whole process from start to finish.
It was essential in management's mind to get those people back every single week or fortnight because they will pay large amounts of money, WorkCover will pay them out.
Even if they missed their appointment, Mann says he was asked to charge them.
I'm not convinced that we're allowed to do this. And so I ended up doing some research. It took me 15 seconds to type into the WorkCover site, if they don't show up for appointments, do I bill? No, can't bill. And this was very late in my employment there. And I turned around to Sanjay and went, look, can't do this, man. And that was a big shock. Oh, wow, I can't believe this. I can't believe this. We need to find, you know, let's stop doing that then.
It gets worse. Former staff say Dr. Parasha told them to find new patients or their GPs by accessing a portal shared with other doctors at the Seaview Clinic, which is based inside Wollongong Private Hospital.
Our admin had access to those books. We were told, I'll just go through the books, find anyone who's a new WorkCover patient that's going to any of the other specialists, and then put them on a list, give the list to our podiatrist, they'll call them and convince them to come in and see us. I'm going into someone else's, first of all, I'm breaching a thing with another doctor there as well, which is, that's his private, you know, doctor-patient confidentiality and all that. We're sitting at the desk, there's 2 or 3 other receptionists there working for other doctors. So I now have to be sneaky at the desk, trying to go sneakily through people's books and record people's patients. Like, it felt wrong on every level. And so I eventually said, I'm not doing this anymore.
Danielle Whitehand worked for Dr. Parasha as an administrative assistant until October last year. She says she also accessed confidential information from the files of specialists at Seaview Clinic.
I basically have to go into their file, find out who their GP is, call said GP and arrange a phone meeting between that GP and Sanjay, where Sanjay will need to give a spiel about why this particular patient needs podiatry services. I understood that that was a breach of patient-doctor confidentiality on so many levels, which is why I initially made the complaint to Sanjay to say that I do not feel comfortable with this. He took what I said, you know, of me feeling uncomfortable and ended up giving it to someone else to get them to do it instead.
Well, there's quite a smorgasbord of bad behaviour here, so it's hard to know where to start. But what is very obvious is bogus billing, fake referrals, breaches of patient privacy, fees for no service. That's just the obvious things that I've seen across all of this paperwork.
Dr. Parasha declined an interview and denies any wrongdoing. In a statement, he said, Dr. Parasha and all FACA staff are committed to ethical medical practices and approach patient care and confidentiality with utmost seriousness. Seaview Clinic said in a statement it was investigating the allegations. and that its system maintains a high level of security to patient information. New South Wales Workers' Comp scheme iCare said it had taken actions against the foot and ankle clinic, which resulted in repayments. The National Health Regulator, AHPRA, said it couldn't comment on specific matters until they're on the public record. It said under the Code of Conduct, practitioners must ensure staff respect the confidentiality of patients. DVA declined to comment. It said it was in the process of revising billing requests to make it simpler. Where are the regulators in all of this?
They just have their head in the sand, like completely. We are in a very advanced state of denial about the state of our health system leakage. The health system is hemorrhaging. All of these health payers' systems are hemorrhaging.
Dr. Foe says more transparency is vital, and the consumer needs to know what they're paying for.
We need to put systems in place where they are involved in the health payment process. At the moment, the patient's gone in the process. Most patients wouldn't even know that all of this stuff has been billed under their name. They wouldn't know.
For their brave service, this group of men deserve all the assistance they require in their late years. What they've experienced and learned from the podiatry industry has left them reeling.
I served well, I worked hard. While I'm not naive enough to think that the government waste our money willy-nilly, you would like to hope that they're doing the right thing with the money that we give them as taxpayers.
It's just completely so far over the top, and the risks they're prepared to do it. You take the risk, you might get away with it, but you might get caught too.